We back, baby. Look at my man with the custom Yeti coming on in. We got a lot to cover tonight, which is normal for this time of year because it's kind of the reason for the season, the full moon and the spawn and all that. Y'all listen to Whiskey Myers open it up.
Yes, we have.
Yeah. Nailed it. I think he's talking about us right there, Chris. Which is why we use this as the intro. Oh, look here. Let me tell you something, folks. It's tournament season, obviously. Hey, look, dog, when you show up to a fishing tournament, somebody's wearing some of these, might as well save you money and go home. These are the Ketchums, boys. These are the Ketchums from Waterland and 6 Cent Fishing. We'll tell you where to find those here in a minute. We got so much to cover tonight. Turn it down just a little bit. Chris, fade that a little bit right there. That'll work. We have got a lot to cover tonight. We've got Bassmaster Elite Series just whacking and stacking on Santee Cooper. We're going to talk about that. We got Red Crest coming up this next week. We're going to talk about that. We've got Lake Fork and all the area lakes in Northeast Texas kind of going off right now. We're going to talk about that and how to catch some giant bass. We got some Redneck science that's going to help you in that fashion. And we got the best boat lanes chip ever known to man for Lake Fork coming out real soon. Maybe later tonight, you might be able to order one. It's done, folks. We got her done. We just got to convert the files and put them on chips, and they'll be ready for y'all to get them. We're going to open up pre-orders for that later. Tell you about that in a minute. So much to cover tonight. Get that brown in your cup. Hold on, we ain't done yet. Get that brown in your cup. Get it in there deep. And then hold it up and drink it down. Chris, it's the Fish Life Podcast, baby. Cheers. Let's get it. Is it all the way up?
It's all the way.
Oh, man, I wanted it to go to 11. It only goes to 10, dog. I got big ears, don't live. Some big ears.
Those glasses are, those are probably sight fishing specials.
As goofy as some people may think they look, we can talk about these here. Go ahead and fade that out. Let's get into that right now. First things first, let's discuss the boat lanes chip that I've been working on.
Let's talk about it.
So as many of you know, Lake Fork can be a very intimidating place to navigate. I've gone through the same intimidation factor navigating Lake Fork myself. Before we even get into this, we got to do something else first. Thank you guys so much for joining us on the Fish Life Podcast. We are the lowest budget that's actually live podcast. Lowest budget actually live. That makes us the L-ball. Makes you guys the low ballers. We sure appreciate you for joining us. We need all the help we can get being on that low budget. We do. The lowest. We're not just low, though. We're the lowest. Okay? We need all the help we can get. So you guys hit them thumbs up. Give us some likes. Also, drop the comments. Let us know who we're talking to. And please, please, please.
Share
it. Boy, you got to bring some enthusiasm, dog.
Share it.
Share that thing. Sharing's caring in a modern world, folks. Share it.
Sharing is caring.
Sharing is caring in 2022.
It is.
Yeah.
It is. So, I want to talk about this.
Can we do the boat lanes first?
Yeah, come on.
I started the boat lanes. Your boy has sacrificed thousands of dollars in guide trip fees at this point. Let's be real, thousands of dollars in gasoline fees. Speaking of gasoline, the song we just listened to by Whiskey Myers, that was Whiskey Myers, by the way, the greatest band, certainly right now, in my opinion. They're killing it. And the lead singer is a hell of a fisherman, and he's a friend, and he's a good guy. Lake Fork's intimidating to navigate, and I have spent an inordinate amount of time and money to build the most thorough and detailed boat lanes chip that has ever been built and that most likely ever will be built. I'm not being arrogant about this, guys. It just ain't nobody else stupid and crazy enough like me to spend as much time as I've spent over the last few months idling multiple times to every single corner of Lake Fork. Literally every corner of Lake Fork. If there is a lane available, we have it marked. I don't know how anybody's going to do one better than this. Now, I will tell you, I'm going to have to extend some of the lanes once the water comes back up. Obviously, I can't get to 100% of Lake Fork right now with the water being 6 foot low. But I don't know how anybody could ever top this one because I have idled to every corner. And if there's a reasonable lane available, even a tight one, it's marked on this boat lanes chip. What I will tell you is if you do get this boat lanes chip, and I'm going to tell you how to get it here in just a minute, There's some of those lanes that are tight enough, you don't need to run it on plane the first time through. You may not need to run it on plane ever. You may not need to run it on plane until you're extremely confident that you can keep your boat on that line. Here's the bonus. This is what's great about this chip. It's got hazard waypoints. Anywhere there's a stump that gets tight to the lane, we've got those stumps marked on either side of the lane. So if you're driving down that lane, you don't see no hazard waypoints, you've got a little wiggle room. You need to stay tight to the line, no doubt about it. You need to stay on the line best possible. But you've got a little error room when you don't see hazard waypoints. When you see those hazard waypoints, if it is tight enough that you feel uncomfortable, you're going to want to idle those lanes, especially the first few times through there. I wanted to go ahead and give you all that because if nothing else, you can idle through a patch of trees and then pick back up on plane afterwards, which is something no other boat lane ship has ever offered before. This is nothing that we have out there in navigation tools has this much information and doesn't have near the amount of trails. The funny thing is, I actually put those lanes on a buddy of mine's boat today. The lanes that I just completed at the end of the week. Put them on a buddy of mine's boat this afternoon, a few hours ago. He had the most updated Lance Vic chip. He had the Stephen Fothery chip. And my lanes just overlaid on top of those. And I hadn't seen any of those other ones until now. I hadn't seen the I've seen some of the older Lance Vic lanes. I've never seen Stephen Fothery's in person. I've never seen the newest version of Lance Vic's. The lanes that we just marked, they're not even close, dude. We have so many more lanes marked than anything else out there. We've got shortcuts. And I tried to think of it when I was building these lanes from a point of view of a guy who used to be a guy that fished there once a week. If I was lucky, I fished there every time I had a chance. I'd fish there 1 or 2 days a week. But I've been that guy who's looking at that lake and I go, dude, I don't know how to run to Ray Branch. Like, I'm going to idle from the main boat link all the way to Ray Branch because that's a big creek arm I've never seen. I want to go see it. Well, I did these lanes from that perspective of running into every corner that's possible to run to. And so you're just not going to see anything else that's going to be this thorough and this comprehensive on navigating Lake Fork through all the timber that we have throughout the lake. So, and where the lake opens up and is wider, I've got all kinds of angled lanes. I'll show you guys some previews of it in some videos coming up. You'll see what I'm talking about. You can see ways to shortcut the actual boat lanes where it's wide. Hey, in some of those marked boat lanes with the buoys where it gets tight, we marked the timber for you on those too. Like, we've got thousands of hazard waypoints, hundreds of individual lanes that we're going to work on converting into one lane. But I marked hundreds, actually over 400 individual lanes that I marked on Lake Fork. So a lot of stuff, a lot of information. That's going to be available for pre-order for Lowrance. Lowrance is going to be first because I built it on Lowrance. Pre-order on Lowrance should be available later tonight at yourlakeforkguide.com. So I will make posts about that. You guys stay tuned and watch out for that. What, you selling it for already? What are we selling it for? So the chip is going to be $100. Now, the pre-order is going to be 20% off. The pre-order is going to be $80. And then once we get done with the pre-order and we're shipping chips out on a daily basis, it will be $100 for that boat lace chip. And I know that's more expensive than the others, but as I just explained to you guys, I spent a ton more money and time than anybody ever has on a boat lace chip. So that's the reason for the cost. I mean, I've got to recoup my money that I just spent to build this thing. And I know that's not y'all's problem, that's my problem. But yeah, we are going to sell this chip for $100 a piece. Once it's up for sale, $80 pre-order. Great question. Thank you, Larry Sackett. Will there be any pre-order for Humminbird? Possibly. I've got to convert those files and make sure. What I'm going to do is convert the files from Lowrance to Humminbird format and then upload it to a Humminbird graph, and I'm going to double, triple check and verify that all those lanes are exactly where I want them to be. There's not any discrepancy that happens during the conversion process. So I know I've got to convert the trails and condense them down into less trails because Humminbird only allows 50 trails. So we've got to deal with that, figure that out. If I'm going to have to go I may have to go retrace the lines to get the Humminbird chip ready to go. So as soon as we know for sure how we're going to do the Humminbird chip conversion-wise and that it is accurate, Humminbird will be available for pre-order once we do that. So it's all coming. Garmin as well. Same thing with Garmin. When Garmin take my money, we gonna take it. We'll sure take it. We'll sure appreciate it. Now, Chris, pull up our agenda tonight because we have got so much to talk to. And I guess the first thing, what's our first topic there, Chris?
We're going to talk a little bit of redneck science.
Billy Ray.
Billy Ray's redneck science.
The old Billy Ray's redneck science. So what Billy Ray's redneck science is, if you're new to this show, And if you're not, just bear with me for 1 second. If you're new to the show, Billy Ray's Redneck Science. I'm Billy Ray. My middle name's Ray. I'm literally Billy Ray Lawson Jr., actually. I've got a redneck name, Billy Ray Lawson Jr.
He's got the longest name in the history of mankind.
Billy Ray Lawson Jr. coming in through. But hey, that's why this is Billy Ray's Redneck Science. I've got a redneck name, and I don't know science, so we just call it Redneck Science. But I do know,
that's right.
What I do know is what happens outside the building. I know the woods, I know the water. I've lived my whole life outside for the most part. And so I have some of these little nuggets sometimes that we like to share of outdoors living. Billy Ray's Redneck Science this week, we're going to talk a little bit about spawning. And we're going to talk about the conditions that we're dealing with because we've had extraordinarily high winds lately, most days around this area. And we are going to get to Bassmaster coverage and Red Crest coverage and tell you guys why this is going to be the best tournament season of all time.
Ever.
When we're done with this, as soon as we're done with Redneck Science. So, obviously, spawn is starting. It's like we're hitting it right now. Like it's busting loose, as they say. Tomorrow's going to be an issue. Violent storms, tons of rain overnight tomorrow night. Man, that's going to monkey up some spawning. It's not going to stop them, but it's going to change kind of the timing and how they do it. But one thing I noticed, it was so funny the other day. We had the full moon Thursday night. Friday morning, going to the lake, I saw a dogwood blooming. White flowers the first white flowers on a dogwood that I've seen all year. I saw the morning of the full moon in March. Now, normally we see dogwoods blooming sometimes in February and often and usually in early March. But what a dogwood blooming signifies, thank you, sir, is the first good wave of spawners. Like the first solid wave of spawning bass, when you see a dogwood white flowers blooming, bass are spawning. Guaranteed. That's the first wave right there. Well, wouldn't you know, it's just how nature just, I love, and this is all just redneck science as it gets right here. I love how nature, this is my favorite thing about what I do and how I do it and how I've been raised and was brought up and all that, being outside in the woods. Dude, I didn't play in the house, bro. Like I played in the woods. You know what I mean? As a kid, I was always in the woods. And I love this part of it, how it just all works together as one well-oiled machine. Here's the thing. We can build all kinds of great stuff. We can build Teslas and you know, modern energy that more cost effective and solar power. We can have all the technology in the world in our pockets and our phones. Nothing we ever build will come close to the efficiency and the precision of the well-oiled machine that God built, known as Mother Nature and this earth, man. It's a beautiful, beautiful thing that I really am passionate about and love, if you can't tell. It just is amazing to me that we had a really delayed spring. Really, really delayed. About as delayed as I've seen, honestly. It really has been delayed water temperature-wise, fishing cycle-wise, seasonal pattern-wise, all that good stuff. But it was amazing to me that we had a full moon. And so I'm thinking full moon in March, dogwoods or not, I got to start looking for beds, dog. The water's close enough to 60. They get, like, daylight periods growing, you know, water temperature ain't quite there yet, but daylight periods growing, the full moon happened. Like, they got to be wanting to get on beds regardless of water temperature at this point. It's freaking March 18th when it happened or whatever it was. The next morning I drive out, there's a dogwood blooming, the first one I've seen all year. And lo and behold, there's bass spawning, you know, and they're starting to spawn. They spawned this weekend. There was bedfish on every lake in this area this weekend from everybody I talked to. So, and obviously if you've been watching Bassmaster Santee Cooper, it's affecting them the same way. Them jokers been running to the bed since Thursday pretty much for the most part. So, really cool stuff, really neat stuff. Watch those moon phases, watch those dogwoods, get in tune with nature. Now, the other part of the Redneck Science today is going to be wind, because we've dealt with so much of it, and this week it's only going to get possibly worse, potentially, from the early forecast. How does wind affect us when we're fishing, guys? So, Chris, what do you think? When you get those 20-plus mile-an-hour sustained winds with the gust in the 40s, and I mean, how does that affect you as a fisherman? What do you see it as?
It handcuffs you because there's many areas that are not as accessible as they were before.
That's true. What else does it do?
It also pushes bait around.
Yeah, there's some. Well, it actually doesn't push bait. It pushes plankton.
Correct.
Which bait fish pursue.
Correct. Yeah.
Right.
And then it also dirties up water.
But any wind will push plankton and move bait.
Correct.
Any wind will push dirty water a little bit, but when it's extremely windy, here's what it does. It limits you in every aspect. It takes things out of your arsenal. Like, You're not going to throw a Cinco when it's blowing 30 sustained. You're not throwing a wacky worm when it's 30 sustained. You're not dragging a light Texas rig or a shaky head in anything when it's 30 sustained winds. You are going to be affected when the wind blows like it has been blowing and will continue to blow for a while. It's March, it does that. Mm-hmm. Yes, you can get out of it in some areas, but that's the other thing it does. It eliminates sometimes half or sometimes even more of the lake. It just takes it away from you. You're done. Maybe you can fish those areas a little bit and get away with it, but you're in those areas, man, all you can do is wind. Yep. All you can do is wind and hope one bites it hard enough to hook itself. And that is so tough when you're talking about fishing a lake like Lake Fork, where the fish are hard to catch. And you need to be able to dial in the pattern. Like on Lake Fork, if you're not dialed into the pattern exactly, a lot of times you're not catching much of nothing.
That's right.
That's just how Lake Fork is, guys. Other lakes, it's a little easier to get away with stuff. But it just limits your techniques, it limits your areas, it takes things away from you. And you have to, on those windy days, fish the areas you can fish, and you have to fish the techniques that you can fish efficiently. We talk about this all the time when it comes to bass fishing on this channel. Our main job is to locate fish. It's not to decide. Everybody wants to know what baits to fish, how to fish them. Those things matter and can affect your results. But really what we're doing as bass fishermen, locate fish and then throw baits that you can fish efficiently in that area.
That's right.
Sometimes you have to change baits because there's too much grass. Sometimes you change baits because there's too much timber. Like I don't want to throw a rattle trap if there's too much standing timber, right? So, okay, instead of that, I'll throw a square bill. Or I don't want to throw a square bill if I'm over hydrilla. Okay, let's throw a rattle trap, right? So you just have to find the fish and then fish baits that you can fish efficiently. And what wind does is it changes the baits that you can fish effectively and efficiently.
That's right.
So remember that when you're dealing with these windy days. Get in areas that you can fish and fish baits that you can fish effectively and efficiently. That'll help you guys catch more and bigger fish. Speaking of catch, these are called the catch'ems, Chris. These are the catch'ems.
So if I buy those, will I actually start catching more fish? Or am I just
Maybe
lost
not.
cause?
Maybe not for you.
I think I'm just a lost cause.
For most of you guys, probably so.
Yeah.
For him, so
Yeah, right.
These are actually called the catch'ems. You can find these at waterlandco.com, or you can find them also at 6censefishing.com. They have the Waterland apparel or Waterland eyewear on there as well, I believe.
And do yourself a favor when you do find them.
On waterlandco.com, you can punch in the code Your Lake Fork Guide and save not 10, but I believe it's 15%.
Ooh.
On Waterland Co. Now, what I will tell you about all the Waterland glasses, these are copolymer lenses here. Glass is coming, real glass is coming, but right now everything's available as copolymer lenses. And I have had some of my Waterlands now for years, 2 years plus. And every one of my pairs of Waterlands that I have, no scratches.
This is the first batch.
No damage to the lens. And these are as clear or clearer than any copolymer lens, and they see in the water as good or better than any copolymer lens I've ever used. And I've used Coastal, I've used Amphibia, I've used Oakley, I've used all of them. These lenses are as good as any, and they don't take any damage. The problem I've had with other brands in the past that are much more expensive is they get scratches, they get scuffs, and then you can't see anything. So, C-Box says, let's get some advertisements on that back wall. What you guys don't know is this is my kitchen. Like, this is where we're at the dinner table, bro. Like,
This is where the nourishment happens.
Yes, we do. You know what I want to do with this wall eventually, what I would love to do, and I think it would work well in the dining room area, is I want to do a wall mount of the 5 biggest bass that have ever been on the Your Lake Fork Guide channel right here, just across the whole wall. Now, that's going to cost thousands of dollars.
No doubt.
I've got all the measurements and pictures of those fish, and eventually I want to do that. But
Bro, I'm pretty sure Michelangelo is a fan. We can get him on.
like, listen, y'all got to buy a lot of boat laid chips before we can do that. Y'all better order 5 a piece or something.
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe we can get that wall done. But I think that would be really cool.
Is Picasso watching? We need your help, bro.
Are there any models that don't make me look like Zaldane? Yeah, these are the Ketchums. This is a new model they came out with. This is kind of popular right now. But Chris has a pair of like the square frame ones right now.
Yeah, these are the
all the
hybrid
glasses you guys have seen me wear on videos over the last 2 years that are just regular looking glasses, they're all Waterland. So you can go pick the frame style of your choice. Here's what I want to tell you about Ketchums. All how it looks aside, I get that this ain't everybody's style, right? It's not my style, to be honest with you.
It blocks 100%.
This covers
Yes.
more sunlight penetration than anything else. And like this being glass across here, you have a full range of view. These are actually phenomenal sight fishing glasses because of that.
That was the first thing I said when I saw them.
Yeah, they truly are.
I said, oh,
so,
yeah, those are sight
even though they
fishing
may not look exactly how you want them to look, the effectiveness of them as a fisherman, which what I care about more, is actually the best frames I've ever put on my face. I can't stand the way they look. I wear them when I want to be goofy. If I'm being honest with you, no offense, 6 Sense, love y'all. I wear these if I want to be like cutting up, joking with my kids or whatever. But when I go to look at a fish, I'm going to wear these this year because they're the best ones. So, goofy looking or not, when I catch an 11-pounder off that bed, I ain't going to really care what I look like.
No, it matters not.
It matters not. Dude, we have rambled for 20 minutes about redneck science and glasses and boat lanes chips. And this is going to be the best tournament fishing season of all time. This is going to be the best tournament fishing season of all time.
Mm-hmm.
I think it is. I mean, first of all, I know FLW was very good in its heyday.
Correct.
I'm aware they had great anglers. But to me, the pageantry, the coverage in the field was not what the Bass Pro Tour is.
No.
It wasn't. The Bassmaster Elite Series is still the Bassmaster Elite Series. If anything, it's just gotten better with live coverage and all the stuff they do now. It's getting better all the time. It's getting bigger, more successful. So Bassmaster Elite Series has improved. Now we've got Bass Pro Tour. And let's talk about what's actually happening in these tournaments. Because, bro, like, come on.
We're about to see two bust 100.
Bassmaster Elite Series is going over 100 tomorrow at Santee Cooper. They're going to go over 100 at Lake Fork. Dude, they're going to Chickamauga in between there in April.
Yeah.
Like, they might do it 3 times. I don't know if that's ever happened. It's been like 15 years or something crazy since they've done it twice in a year, hit the century mark. We've got that going. Oh, yeah, by the way, we've already seen 5 double-digit fish caught in a single event on the Bass Pro Tour. We saw the all-time Bass Pro Tour record broken and reset multiple times already this year. We've still got Red Crest to go. We've already had a classic that was one of the closest, most awesome finishes we've ever seen as a bass fishing fan. Oh, yeah, we're going to Lake Oahe, which is smallmouth circus town, later in the year. We've still got all the other events coming up that are just what they are. They're amazing.
Bro, it seems like every smallmouth lake they pull up to 20 to 25 pounds is par.
Which is crazy for smallmouth.
So
crazy.
You factor that in, and we're talking about potentially.
What I'm saying is, as a bass fishing fan, we've never had it better.
No.
It's never been better.
No.
There's never been 2 tours of this stature putting this level of competition on. We've never had the live coverage until the last few years. And the lakes and the schedules and the timing of everything, the way it's working out, the fishing, this is going to be the best season of tournament bass fishing that we've ever had to view as fans. Do you agree?
Oh, I agree.
And do y'all agree? Let us know.
Do you? Are you ready for the Fish Life Podcast Be Bold moment?
Sure.
The all-time record goes down at Fork this year.
Oh?
It goes down.
You know, save that because we're going to discuss that. Mm-hmm. We are going to discuss that. Where's my agenda? Come on, Jamie.
It's right here,
You're
bro.
You're killing it tonight, Jamie. You're doing really good.
I know.
But I was looking for the agenda. Didn't have it. So let's talk about Santee Cooper because that's going on right now. And then we're going to preview. We're going to preview the Red Crest. And we've got to talk about some total weight things that you just mentioned.
Don't let me forget on the Santee Cooper topic to say what I said about Hackney, what you and I were talking about earlier.
Okay.
I want to hear the viewers' opinion on
You can say that right now. So Bassmaster, actually don't, yeah, in a minute.
Save it. Yeah.
Bassmaster's at Santee Cooper, which is a phenomenal lake. I used to live in the southeast corner of South Carolina. I got to fish Santee Cooper just a couple of times. It's an amazing lake. It's a beautiful lake full of cypress trees, as you guys are seeing on the live coverage.
Basically what he's telling you is that lake is set up to fish the way Billy likes to fish the most.
It's set up to fish the way I think most bass fishermen grew up fishing and like fishing. Visual targets. Ooh, that looks good. Throw there. Mm-hmm. And, dude, it's got a bunch of good ones. Like, not only does it, like, it's not like it has the biggest. Like, you're not going to go out there and catch an 18-pounder like you might in Texas.
But 4 to 7 pounders?
Yeah.
Everywhere.
Boy. Oh, boy. Yeah. Lots. Like,
everywhere.
And it's got a huge population of fish.
Yes.
It's a good lake. And that's my experience talking to you guys from 15 years ago right? About 15 years ago.
Right.
But what we're seeing on the coverage is the same thing. It's the same exact thing. So Santee Cooper's just unbelievable. The fish they're catching is unbelievable. 33 pounds, 31 pounds, 30 pounds. Guys, that's rare in professional fishing that we see tournaments like this. Like we say, unless they're at Fork, they really don't break 100 very often. Like they break 100 every. One thing about Lake Fork, they break 100 every time they come.
That's right.
No matter what time of year. November, over 100. April, over 100. June, over 100. Like, it just doesn't matter. They always go over 100 at Fork every time they come. And, guys, that's rare. It's rare. They don't ever have 2 in a year, hardly ever. This year, Santee Cooper's going over 100 for sure tomorrow. Several guys are going. I think there's going to be 3 to potentially 5 or 6 guys. Really, there's 4 that I think for sure are going over. Mm-hmm. But there could be 5 or 6 with a big day go over. Yeah, I mean, 3 or 4 guys going over 100 pounds. That's a huge tournament.
I mean, bro, look.
That's a big deal.
When you got guys with 4 fish in their bag and they're sitting at 22 pounds, I mean, come on.
The consistency of this fishery blows me away. Usually when you see tournaments where guys break 100 pounds, they have a 35-pound bag. They have a 40-pound bag, a 37-pound bag. And several guys will have that, right? And then one guy has that and does good enough on the other days to break 100. Mm-hmm. Like last year at Fork, Lee had 42 pounds on one day and ended up weighing in 110 pounds total or something like that, 150, whatever it was. Brandon Cobb had 38 or 39 and it weighed in 115 pounds. Usually when they go over 100, you see that. On this event, we're going to have 3 or 4 guys at least probably go over 100 pounds. And the biggest bag of the event is 33 pounds, which tells me there is a ton of 20-pound to 33-pound bags coming out of Santee Cooper. Like a ridiculous amount.
And let's talk about how much water is getting shared on top of that.
That speaks to the population of the fish. I mean, this is an unbelievable fishery. There's no doubt about it. No doubt about it. As far as the fishing goes and what's happening out there right now, the same thing we talked about on Redneck Science. The moon phase has had a huge effect. The moon came through Thursday night. Thursday we saw guys fishing, doing their thing, but the sight fishing wasn't nearly as prevalent as it is now. When these moon phases happen, males jump on bed the next day for the most part, or be around it or jump on it the next day. But those females typically get catchable the most amount of those big females get catchable 3 days after. Sometimes 4 days after, go 3 4. Mm-hmm. Well, guess what? Today and tomorrow is 3 to 4 days after the full moon. So,
and they're already catching some of those females.
Yeah, I mean it's well, today was I think the 3rd day after the full moon, so tomorrow will be the 4th. Like they just on the schedule. If there's a full moon at the end of March, can we like mandate that Bassmaster and Bass Pro Tour, one, if not both, Lord knows they ain't scared to schedule on top of each other. We know that. One, or if not both, have to have a tournament that is going on the 3rd day after the full moon in March. Because what I can tell you guys is you can lead cinch pipe this deal. The best sight fishing day of the year for big females is going to be the 3rd day after the full moon, that is March 20th or later.
Yep.
And what's today?
20th.
See what I'm saying? Like, this is the best sight fishing days of the year. Today and tomorrow. Of course, tomorrow in East Texas, we're going to get screwed with the storms. But these are the best days where the females will lock on the best. The biggest females will lock on the best. Every year. My best sight fishing bag ever was over 40 pounds on Lake Fork. It came on the 3rd day after a full moon, March 20-something. It's the most guaranteed thing I know of in bass fishing. Most guaranteed thing. So we need to schedule pro tournaments on that deal every year.
Every single year.
Every single year. Who's going to win it, Chris?
Man, I got Polnick upsetting him.
What?
Polnick's going to bust a 40 tomorrow.
Dude, I don't think so. I mean, he could. The way he's fishing, because Polnick's not just sight fishing. What I like about Polnick is there's some versatility to his game. He can catch them on bed if he needs to. Oh, yeah, he can catch them out off the bank if he needs to. Like, he's got some versatility to his game. Here's what I'm worried about. Most of Polnick's bigger fish have been offshore. They've been off the bank. Mm-hmm. I think that deal's going away because of what we just talked about with that moon cycle. I think that deal's leaving him. I think it's going away from him, and I think he may not get some of those big bites in the morning like he's been getting tomorrow. So I'm worried about Polnick slipping a little bit tomorrow.
You think Drew Cook's taking it?
Man, he's got a 5-pound lead. He's got a 5-pound lead, and there's more bed fish still coming. Like, I don't see any way. And sight fishing is.
If he catches 30 tomorrow, it's over.
Well, yeah, if he catches 30, it's over for sure. The biggest bag's 33, and he's got a 5-pound lead. Yeah, if he catches 25, it's pretty much done. Yeah. Even at 25. And by the way, he's got 30 and 24 and 24. Like, he's 25 is kind of what he's doing.
Yeah.
So I think if he catches 20, like if he goes out, unless he slips, I think it's kind of done.
I'm really pulling for Caleb Kufal in this event, just because if I was fishing this tournament,
that's the dude that scares me the most.
That is exactly how I would be fishing.
Well, that's the dude that scares me the most because he's the only guy we've seen throwing a spinnerbait.
Yep.
In the top. He is doing his own thing, his own way, and he's got it to himself. To himself. He's only got doing it, man. And that little spinnerbait deal he's got going, hey, that's a deadly thing around Cypress knees this time of year. And it's a big fish bait. A spinnerbait creates a big profile. It's a lot like throwing a big swim bait. It's like kind of the old school version of throwing a big swim bait, really. And the other thing about it is, man, since the invention of the chatterbait, people just don't throw a spinnerbait like they used to. They really don't.
I've said this over and over.
We've had this conversation. You know me in this.
Yes.
Listen, I'm not trying to be arrogant here on you, but like, I've taught you a lot about spinnerbait fishing. I know I have because we've had a lot of talks about it. And so you know how adamant I am about throwing a spinnerbait this time of year.
Yep.
And the thing about Santee Cooper is it doesn't look visually like fork does, but it fishes pretty similar this time of year.
Correct.
This time of year. It's very similar.
Yep. I took a liking to the way Caleb Kufal was fishing, and I've been bird dogging him just because. Man,
he's an interesting guy too.
For me, my eyesight's not all that great. I'm decent at bed fishing, but that's not my deal. You know what I'm saying? But as far as fish cruising, swiping at that spinnerbait, I can do that.
Here's what makes this deal pretty much Drew Cook's to lose. He is good at bed fishing.
Yes, very good.
And when you're sight fishing in a tournament, you need 5. 8 hours is a long time to catch 5 fish. And when you can visually pass the 2-pounder and the 3-pounder and the 4-pounder up to catch the 6, then you're dangerous. Because now every time you set the hook, it's going in the live well. Whereas if you're spinnerbait fishing, you're hoping to get the right bites.
Right.
When you're sight fishing, you know if I catch her, she counts. It makes you much more efficient. It makes you, like, when sight fishing is the deal, if you're not doing it, to me, you're going to lose.
Yeah, no, that's fair.
Because you can call your shot on how big of a fish you hunt for. Like what Drew Cook's probably going to do is try to go out and get a limit early. Now if he does that strategy, that may waste some time for him. But if Drew Cook goes out and says, you know what, I'm catching 25 pounds tomorrow, I ain't stopping on nothing that ain't 5 pounds. If he does that, he's not going to get beat.
Yeah, that's fair.
He's just not going to get beat. You're not going to catch a 5-pound deficit on a guy that's going to for sure catch 25 pounds, which is pretty much what he's done all week. For sure catch 25 pounds. So I think it's Drew Cook's to lose. I would love to see Polnick win it. Why would I love to see Polnick win it?
Because you stole him from me?
Because
you stole him on the AOY pick?
All right, Luke Duncan, keep whining. John's fault. No, listen, sorry, Luke. Love Luke, but listen, Luke can do some complaining. That sucker, Luke's a great guy. Luke is a wonderful, wonderful guy. He's a good dude. But he complains a lot. I'm just saying, that sucker complains a lot.
Did you steal Polnick from him on the AOY pick too?
Huh?
Did you steal Polnick from him on the AOY pick?
No, that ain't why he's complaining. I don't know what. He's got plenty of other things to complain about apparently. But no, I didn't steal anything from you. It's my turn to pick first.
Yeah, I know. You stole him from me.
Such a girl. So I want Polnick to win because I picked him for Angler of the Year. Oh, by the way, go look at those Angler of the Year standings. And what did I say when I picked him for Angler of the Year? If he survives Florida.
Got to survive Florida. And he did.
The rest of this schedule is right in his wheelhouse. Other than Chickamauga is kind of like for him, but the rest of it is like he might win all of them. Like he might win tomorrow. When we go to Fork, dude, he's always in the top 5 at Fork. Like he might win at Fork. Hey, when we go to smallmouth country,
yeah,
which we have 3 events up there.
Yeah, that's top 10.
He might win all those. Like, he might win every tournament the rest of the way out, other than like Chickamauga is kind of the one you go, I'm not too sure about Pollock. But with Pollock, you never know. He's good.
Hey, you know who's sitting in first AOY right now?
John Cox.
Another one dangerous.
We totally forgot about him in the Anglo Year pick. He's back, folks. Cox eliminated one tour, and he's back.
He's back. He literally had one mediocre season out of his whole career. And we all just wrote him
Joker
off.
finished 25th at AOY. We're like, oh, he sucks.
Yeah. Yeah. You wouldn't do that for anybody else.
Anybody else on earth would be like, oh, it's just a good year.
He had a rough year, man.
Good year, bro.
Yeah.
Congratulations. Nice
Jesus.
year. Not John Cox. John Cox has set his own standard, and it is a different standard.
This might be the Polinick John Cox show down the wire.
Yeah. You know, we'll see. And John spoke about this today on stage. He said, I got to do my damage now before everybody gets offshore later.
That's right.
So he knows that. He feels that. He has had some success at smallmouth fisheries, but when they go to the smallmouth land, like, you got to favor Polnick heavily.
Oh, yeah.
Over John Cox.
No doubt.
Can John Cox do it? Yes, he can.
Yeah.
But he's kind of got to have some things go his way and be at the top of his game when they go to smallmouth country to finish that Anglo of the Year battle. Meanwhile, also John Cox, for whatever it's worth, not that great at fork.
No.
I mean, not bad.
But not what
Never
you would think.
threatened to win, for sure, the times he's been to fork.
No, he's not as good as you would think he would be.
Never been close. And they've been there at times a year. Like when Bass Pro Tour was there in March of 2020, we're like, ooh, they're about to frog a little bit. They up on the beds a little bit.
Yeah.
Like, you look at John Cox and go, big fish fishery, flooded vegetation, sight fishing and frogging. Yeah, I like John Cox.
Yeah.
He didn't do that great. I mean, he was okay, but he didn't do that. He didn't make the top 10.
So back to the comment that I made earlier. So if this tournament that's going on right now is a week later, Greg Hackney is a force to be reckoned with, in my opinion.
You got to tell me why.
He's got the style that he was fishing. He was really kind of the only one doing it, and he had an entire area to himself.
Explain what you mean by that, because as far as I can tell, Hackney was just going on flipping. That's all he's doing, just flipping.
Yeah.
Flipping bank.
Yeah, flipping, covering water.
So why is next week going to make him more dangerous than anybody else flipping bank? Because a lot of guys are doing that.
Because they're further into the pattern, and he has an area to himself.
So you think it's because he has the area to himself?
It's more or less the area.
And that more fish would get in there and he would be bad.
Yes.
Okay.
Throwing a jig, big fish bait, you know.
I mean, that's just what Hackney does, though.
Yeah.
Yeah. Hackney pitching a jig.
I'm telling you, you literally go around the corner.
So it's such a fine line at this level between guys. I mean, and Hackney's had a great tournament. He's fishing tomorrow. Mm-hmm. Hackney, listen, this is Santee Cooper, folks. Hackney go out and flip up 45 pounds tomorrow, and then he win the whole deal. Like, here's the cool thing. As stupid and crazy as that sounds,
it's possible.
Not out of the realm.
Yeah.
It's just not out of the realm of possibility.
Especially not for that guy.
And not for that lake.
Yeah.
Like, this is a lake where 40 some odd pounds is a real thing. It can happen. Like, it really can. What if Drew Cook goes out and catches like 40 tomorrow? Like, just all his males have females tomorrow.
Just blow.
He goes out and catches like 38, 39 pounds.
Well, because he keeps saying, he's like, man, I've got other areas. He's like, I've got other
Well, I can tell you how the sight fishing deal goes, and I'm guiding day in, day out during sight fishing. It's like you go along and on a lake like Santee Cooper, you're catching 3, 4, 5 pound at time males, and then you catch a big female or two a day, and you get that 25 pound bag. That's how you do it. Mm-hmm. But then you show up one day,
and they all got girlfriends with them,
and everybody's got a lady that's ready to play.
Yeah.
And then it's like, instead of catching 3, 4, 5 pound males, you're catching 6, 7, 8 pound females. Like the day that we caught 40 pounds on our best 5, our 6 through 10, so our second best 5, was over 25 pounds.
Yeah.
We had 65 to 70 pounds on 10 fish. On 10, 65 to 70 pounds a day. So you show up on the right day and all the girls are there. I mean, this could happen. I don't know. We're getting off topic. We do that. We're rambling.
That was completely on topic.
How about Cox having a half a day of pre-fishing and being in the top 10? Yeah, that's amazing. I mean, John Cox is a freak of nature. That's John Cox doing John Cox things.
Yeah.
He's a freak, and when it comes to fishing, and he's a guy that just I think he almost fishes better when he doesn't practice and overthink. When he just goes, that looks good, let's pitch over there. That looks like that needs a swim jig by it. That looks like that needs frog twitched on top of it. Like when he fishes like that, he seems to do better. And I think that's why he tried to take on all the tours. He was like, you know what? I don't need to practice anyway. Like I'm better without practicing. You know, Greg Hackney doesn't really practice anymore.
Right.
He used to when he's young. Now Greg Hackney doesn't really practice hard anymore. Where did Hackney finish? He's still in it. I think he's 8th or 9th.
8th or 9th, yeah.
He's in the top 10, so he's fishing them all. He's fishing them all.
So
your pick for who wins is Brandon Polnick. Mine's Drew Cook.
yeah, I mean,
Okay. Speaking of this tournament and this season, like we said, which tournament is going to have the highest finishing weight? Santee Cooper or Lake Fork? I think those are going to be the top 2 this year, most likely. I think most people would agree with that.
Lake Fork.
Okay, so let's hold on. Don't listen. This ain't going to be much of a talk show if you just say Lake Fork and we're done.
You asked me. I told you.
Like we got to discuss this.
We're
thing.
going to.
We got to break this thing out. Like you can't just be like, Lake Fork. Okay, yeah, Lake Fork. All right, moving on.
No, I gave you my answer, and then let's open it up.
You're not supposed to tell me the end of the movie
okay.
in the first 5 seconds of the movie. That's
know.
like one of the movies that shows you the main character getting killed and goes 2 years earlier and then tells you a whole story how you got there.
All right, 15 minutes
I
earlier.
don't like those.
Which one do we think is going to be bigger? All right, so it's between Santee and Fork, I got to imagine. So let's talk about it. Let's talk about it.
Well, we know who Chris is picking. So we just talked about, okay, Drew Cook's at 80 pounds.
Yeah.
So he's most likely for sure going to catch 25 tomorrow because that's what he's been catching every day. Could catch 30.
So 105 to 110.
What's it going to take to win Santee Cooper? What do you think? That's a good. Let's do that. What do you think it's going to take to win Santee Cooper?
I think it's going to take about 110.
I think it's going to take 110.
Yeah.
Really? Because so here's what you're saying. Drew Cook is going to catch 30 because I know you're not telling me that whoever's in second is going to catch 35 because nobody's caught 35 the whole tournament.
Are you saying the winning weight or?
Yeah.
I think the winning weight's going to be about 110.
So think about what you're saying here.
Yeah, no doubt.
Drew Cook's at 80 and has a 5-pound lead. So you're telling me that either Drew Cook's going to catch 30 or BP is going to catch 35?
Yes.
When nobody's caught 35 the whole event?
Yes.
You know they usually don't catch bigger weights on day 4. You know that, right?
You know that he's at 76 pounds and he knows that he has to catch 35 or better to win. So he's going to be swinging for the fences.
I think the number's 105.
You think it's 105?
Mm-hmm. I do. I think it could be 110. Like I said, with Santee, it's not out of the realm. The hell number could be.
I just think that
120.
I think that anybody that's not leading right now knows I have to catch 35 pounds. 35 pounds or bust.
Fair point. And with the fish moving like they've been moving, it is going to be possible. So I think the number's 105, though. So with that being said,
that's a more conservative, yeah.
With that being said, even if it's 110, so because if you're guessing 110, then it could be 109, could be 108.
Yeah.
What is the lowest 4-day weight winning total at Lake Fork was Patrick Walters, which was like 103 in November. But anytime we've been there in April, May, June, it's been much more.
Yes.
It's been 110 or 112, I think, last year for Lee. 115 or 119, I can't remember which one, for Brandon Cobb. And then before that, the only sample we have is the TTBC, which were 3-day events where he caught 110 in 3 days. Yeah. And then Brent Ayler caught 90-something in 3 days. Yeah. So in a 4-day event, that would have averaged out to be the Keith Combs way past the all-time record.
Yeah. And
the Brent Ayler would have obviously been about 120 pounds. 125, something like that. So that's obviously every single time they fished Lake Fork on a professional level event, April, May, June, it's beating 110 pounds.
I think.
So that being said, I think hands down Lake Fork's still going to have the biggest bag of the year.
Yeah.
I mean, odds, if you're just going by statistics and data and odds, Lake Fork's going to have the biggest bag of the year on the Bass Master Elite Series.
I'm going to step out here and say it takes. I think the all-time record goes down on Fork this year.
So Keith Combs in 2014 had 110 pounds in 3 days. We just mentioned that. There was also another guy named Stetson Blaylock who was over 100 pounds in 3 days. There was Russ Lane who was at 99, basically 100 pounds in 3 days.
Yep.
In 3 days, folks. Think about it, in 3 days.
Yep.
Any of those three would have most likely broken the all-time record
Correct.
if they fished the 4th day. When was that tournament held in 2014, Chris?
In 2014, that was in. Was that in May?
Mm-hmm.
Sure was, wasn't it?
When exactly in May was it? Memorial Day weekend, folks.
Oh, it was.
When does the Bassmaster Elite Series come to Lake Fork this year, Chris?
Is it Memorial Day weekend?
Memorial Day weekend, Chris. What was the lake level in 2014 when they caught all them fish?
It was low. I think it was 5 foot low.
What is the lake level currently at Lake Fork?
5.5, 6 foot.
6.5.
6.5.
Gonna come up some there in spring. 6.5 foot low. See what I'm saying? See what I'm saying, folks? We were 20 pounds shy of the record in 3 days in 2014, and every single thing that you can look at is lining up the same going into that event.
I'm calling it.
It's coming. I've said this since they started coming here in 2019, I believe it was, when Brandon Cobb won, when the Elite Series started coming here every year. I've said this since then. And they have not nailed it yet. None of these tournaments that we've seen go over 100 pounds at Lake Fork, none of them have they showed up when the lake is fishing real good. They haven't yet hit when the lake's fishing real good. The day they do, the all-time record is not getting broken, it's getting shattered. It will be close to a 40-pound average. If those guys hit Lake Fork when it's lights out, it will take close to a 40-pound average to win the tournament. It will be 150 pounds if they ever line it up right. And the record's 130. It'll be 140, 150, 37, 38 pound. And think about Keith Combs, 3 days, 110. What's that? That's 37 pounds, dog. That's 36 3/4 pounds per day. Like, it's going to take 37 pounds, 38 pounds if they. And by the way, when Keith did that and they broke all them records and had that 3-day event, it was fishing pretty darn good. It still wasn't great when they did that. There are times when those fish get going offshore on Lake Fork and your mama can go out there and catch 30 pounds on a crankbait. I mean, it's just crazy. So all that stuff's lining up for us to see something pretty. The only thing that concerns me, here's the only thing that I can say that detracts from that. There was 45 guys in the TTBC tournament in 2014. There's going to be 97 guys in the Elite Series at the end of May.
Right.
That lake does fish small when it's low.
Yep.
Real small when there's no grass and it's low, which is where we're at right now. So those guys could cut each other's throats a little bit on being on the same schools. Because in late May, they're all going to be looking at offshore schools for the most part.
Let me ask you
there'll
this.
be a couple guys make a living up shallow and make a check. For the most part, the leaders are going to be off the bank, deep cranking, swim baits on jig heads, football jig, stuff like that.
Let me ask you this though: what do you think the fish population is now compared to what it was
In 2014?
Yeah,
Pretty similar.
think it's similar.
Even the biologists told me the numbers have stabilized. It's pretty similar. Yep.
Just curious.
If anything, yeah, I mean, it's pretty much the same. Pretty much the same. I mean, we can all talk about, well, we had a good fishing year this year and a bad fishing year that year, and weather and all these things can affect it. We can have our little opinions as fishermen, but the reality is those biologists know how many fish are in that lake. More so than anybody else does.
Yeah.
And Jake Norman, who's a great guy and a biologist at Lake Fork these days, I've had in-depth discussions with him on the population of Lake Fork. He says it has been completely stable. It has peaked back in the day, gone down, come back up, and it's leveled out these days, and it's the same year to year. Nothing's changing.
Good to know.
Yep, good to know. Good enough. And we don't stay in drought long enough. If we stayed in drought long enough, we would have enough bad spawns where you would see a dip.
Yeah.
But we only stay in drought 2 to 3 years at a time around here. I mean, the worst ones were 3 years was the worst one. 11 to 14, that was the worst one.
Yep.
That's not long enough to put a huge dent into the population. So basically we had enough fish to sustain those losses. Then we had the booming spawns of the next few years when the lake was full, and it equaled out the population.
Yeah.
So there was never a change. Never a change. All right, let's Red Crest.
Woo!
It's coming.
Grand Lake. Can we make our group pick real quick?
No, let's talk about the tournament before we make picks.
Okay.
Let's talk about the tournament before we make picks. So they're going to Grand Lake. Now, remember, guys, we're talking about how all the fish are spawning right now. Well, Grand Lake ain't that far from here. It's a little more north, but there's going to be a big wave of fish spawning on Grand Lake over this last weekend. And so what you're going to have on Grand Lake is the traditional, you're going to hear guys say this, all three phases. All three phases. Pre-spawn, post-spawn, and on the bed. Now, the ones on the bed, when they're there, in the beginning especially, are going to mostly be males. But they're going to be there long enough with their 6-day tournament to have some females show up by the end of the event, I think.
Do you think that sight fishing plays a factor in that tournament?
Yes. I think it's the end of March in this region. In early April, yes.
So you think
somebody's going to be looking at it.
So you think the guys?
I think go ahead.
I was going to say, do you think the guys that kind of rise their way to the top are going to take? They're going to say, "Hey, I'll take less bites because I can get 3 bites right here with one fish."
Nope. Oh no, they can't do that. They have a rule. If you catch fish, you're not supposed to, on a sight fishing deal. You can't go back and try to catch that same fish.
No, I'm saying
the same day.
No. What I mean is like. I'll get less bites to catch this one that I know how big it is.
Oh, yeah, like I'll try not to get, like they'll settle down on a big one?
Yeah.
Well, that's the one thing I didn't think about when I said sight fishing would play. Sight fishing is not the way to catch a lot of fish.
Right.
And this is every fish counts.
Right.
That is a good point. I'll tell you this, even if it was a 5-fish derby, I don't think the guys that are going to win this tournament are going to be sight fishing. I think they're going to be catching them, just fishing.
Yeah.
I think that you can look at shallow points. I think that you can look at your swim jigging down a bank, spinner baiting down a bank, winding. I think it's wide open. I think it's an overall shallow fishing derby, like pitching, flipping, winding, swim jigging, chatterbaiting, square billing, jerk baiting. I think it's just going to be a general junk fishing shallow derby. Who's good at that?
Man, there's a lot of guys.
You know who's really good at that, but he's not on the Bass Pro Tour? Scott Martin. When you just got to go shallow and catch them however, and you're going to use 15 different baits, Scott Martin's really good at that. Really good at that.
I'll tell you who's
Andy
good.
Morgan, really good at that.
I'll tell you who's good at it and is on the Bass Pro Tour. Edwin Evers.
Man, I think Edwin Evers is good at anything. I think Edwin Evers might be the most versatile, one of the most, I can't say the most because that's a hard thing to say. He's one of the most versatile guys. Because if they're offshore, like if I was going, dude, it's summertime, it's going to be an offshore kind of ledge point deal. You know who's good at that? Edwin Evers.
Yeah.
Hey, dude, if we're sight fishing, like God dang, it's a sight fishing derby, you know who's good at that?
Edwin Evers. Yeah.
See what I'm saying?
I know.
Like the dude just does it all real good. I think Edwin Evers is the hands down favorite. Obviously, it's Grand Lake. We know Edwin's history. Won a classic there. He's from Oklahoma. He's fished there, but just like if Jason Christie was still there, he'd be right there with Edwin on the homeboy pick. In fact, so much so we normally pick 3 anglers apiece because fantasy fishing is top 5. So we just do 3 and 3 to give you guys 6, and then y'all can pick your fantasy team.
Yep.
We normally do that. We're only going to do 5 tonight because we have a pick that literally we'll go to fisticuffs over to fight over who gets to pick him.
That's right.
It's Edwin Evers.
Yeah, Edwin Evers is one for both of us. So I'll let you have the
Andy Morgan.
Andy Morgan's
Junk fishing specialist and one of the greats who's never won the big game. He is, in my opinion, Andy Morgan is clearly the greatest fisherman of all time to not win a championship event. Never won a classic. Never won a Forest Wood Cup. Never won a Red Crest. He's the best to ever play this game that doesn't have the big trophy on his mantle.
That's a solid pick.
Andy Morgan's my pick. Who you got?
I'm gonna go out on a limb here. This guy does a pretty good job at junk fishing, just going out and going fishing, figuring out a pattern as he goes. Mr. Dustin Connell, I'm going for the repeat.
It's a good pick.
Yeah.
And he's not scared of dirty water.
That's right.
He ain't a scared, folks.
Nope.
That dirty water don't bother him none, and a lot of Grand Lakes going to be dirty.
That's right.
What we got coming through this area tomorrow, a lot of Grand Lakes going to be dirty.
Yep.
Now, as we saw with Edwin in that classic, parts of it will be clear. A lot of it's going to be dirty. I see somebody picking Brian Thrift. I like the Brian Thrift
That's
pick.
a good pick.
I'm going a different direction. I'm going to your boy's boy. How do we know? How's like you're gonna pick Jacob Wheeler, right?
I mean,
Somebody's gonna pick Jacob Wheeler.
yeah, he gets picked. Him or never mind.
Dude, shallow water junk fishing this time of year.
Yeah.
I'm worried about the every fish counts. It's always hard to pick a winner in this deal.
Yeah,
because a guy can dominate the tournament and not win it.
It's tough.
Like you can dominate the whole event and not win it. Like nobody was more dominant than Jacob Wheeler when they were at Fork, and he didn't win it.
Yeah. No, I'm with you.
It's a weird deal.
I'm with you.
I'm going MDJ, dude.
Dude, that's a good one.
Shallow water?
That's a good
Old Peepaw gonna get up there with that methylate worm and catch all of them, Jack. Like he'll catch 2 pounder after 2 pounder on your head.
This one might be
Methylate Daniels Jr. full of wind. Let's go. Let's go.
I'm gonna throw you for a loop here.
You're not gonna do Wheeler. How's nobody gonna pick? We gotta pick Wheeler. Fine, you can have Evers. I'll take Wheeler. If you're not picking him for this pick, because it's your last pick.
Well, I was gonna give you a reason why I wasn't gonna pick
Go
him.
ahead, pick whoever you want to. Go ahead.
I'm gonna go with the River Otter.
That's a good one. That's a good one.
I mean, it's hard. It was between him and Wheeler, no doubt. But
That's
how do you?
Dude, we've been doing this too long. We're getting on the same page. Remember how it used to be different?
Yeah.
We've been doing this picking guys too much because
Yeah.
now we're getting on the same page about
Yeah.
things.
I just don't know how shallow, dirty water.
I know.
And
Ott.
Jacob Wheeler can do it all.
The only thing I can say about Ott is this hasn't been his best start to a season.
No, it hasn't. But it's also this is how he grew up fishing.
So much of this game, though, dude, it's about these streaks. These like you get the mojo going, and you just get hot, and you go and go. Like Patrick Walter's last couple of years just been hot. Now this year, he's not bad. He's not bad.
Not
It's
bad
not
at
like
all.
the John Cox deal.
Right.
He's not bad.
Yeah, we're gonna sit here and talk trash, but it's
Like next year, we're gonna be like Patrick Walters ain't in the England year base, and then he'll win it. You know.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
like he's not bad, but he's not doing as good as he has in the past. Ott's kind of dealing with a little bit of that too. Like he was just so dominant. And so that would be the only thing that would shy me away from the Ott pick. But you're right, dude. You're right. Grand Lake, shallow, dirty water, just junk fishing. Like Ott is a great pick for that, man. It's a great pick.
I think we should pick 5, bro. I really do.
Like each pick 5?
Yeah.
Oh God, I'm not prepared for this. Okay, so all right, then that means that I got the next pick because we said like you got Evers.
Yeah.
I'm giving you.
That's fine.
I'm giving you the number 1 draft pick.
Or I'll take Wheeler. It don't matter. But you can still have the next pick.
Oh, I get Evers and you get Wheeler.
That's fine.
Okay, great.
Yeah.
So perfect. I'll take that.
Yeah.
So I've got Evers,
Yeah.
MDJ,
Yeah.
Andy Morgan.
Yeah.
You've got Otter, Connell, and Wheeler.
Yeah.
Do we have to pick Adrian Avina now?
Yeah.
Since we've already picked the other 3 of their little buddy group,
Yeah.
is it like a law we have to pick Avina now?
Which Avina has.
So normally that's all. Normally that's all we would pick is the 2 top 3s.
So we got 2 more.
So you want to do 5 versus 5?
Yeah.
Dude, we're just going to have to start a fantasy fishing league. That's what we have to do. You realize that?
It's okay.
Okay. All right. Dang, now I don't know where to go.
Oh, I'm gonna blow you away with this next one. I got an idea.
I'll take Jeff Sprague.
That's a good one.
I'll take Jeff Sprague on my team. Go ahead.
All right, Jordan Lee.
Okay.
Jordan Lee.
Now it's back on me already. I'm not, folks. Beauty of live programming. I am not.
Got him.
I had my 3 or 4 guys, and now I'm out. Because I knew I had to pick 3 before you got here. We talked about Sharon Edwin.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
I knew I had to pick 3. So I had like 4 guys picked in case you picked 1 or 2, whatever.
Yeah.
Man, God dang, dude. Now I don't know. So who did I just pick? Sprague?
Yeah, you pick Sprague.
And I've got...
Yes, busting outdoors. All these.
Yes, everybody's in this tournament.
Yes.
Yeah, everybody we're picking's in this tournament. They're all top guys. They're all top guys. Salzman's not in it. This is his first year on the tour. He's not in the Red Crest. You have to qualify for it the year before. Can I get a roster or something?
Yeah,
I mean,
you want a roster?
Jamie,
Gotcha.
can Jamie get me a roster pull?
I can get you a roster. This is tough.
I want to just go thrift because somebody mentioned it, and I was already thinking about him. Because you can't think about Andy Morgan without thinking about thrift, right?
Right.
Like you just can't.
Right.
So I want to just go thrift, but I want to look at my options before I make that decision.
Here, do you want me to pull up a? Let me pull up a result. There, I'll give you the.
What is this?
This is the one that DC just won. So it's just a list. He's reaching deep in the bag for this one.
I'm just looking.
No, I hear you. I'm with you. I'm looking too.
I'm just looking.
The suspense is killing me.
You already got your last pick?
Yeah, it's between. I'm between two guys.
Ooh.
Go ahead. Go on with it.
Ooh.
Go on with it.
Saw one that I like. Wild card.
Go ahead.
The fifth pick's got to be a wild
It's got to
card.
be a wild card for sure. Go on.
Give me some Fletcher.
Fletcher Shrike's a good one.
Because, hey, we're going to be flipping. Right?
So,
little dirty water. Give me some Fletcher in my life.
So it's funny that you say that because the guy that I'm about to pick, it was literally between Fletcher and this guy.
Who you gonna pick?
I'm taking Zach Burge.
I like it. As I was scrolling down this list, I was looking at Wesley Strader.
Yeah, Wesley Strader's a good one. Chatterbait in the muddy water. Yeah.
It came down here. Justin Lucas. Always a dangerous pick. Brian Thrift.
Yeah.
But then I got to Fletcher, and all I remember is Fletcher always, every time when they've been at Lake Fort, and this time of year, he gets around some bushes and he pulls that little bug out, and he's good. He's good. So, all right, so it'll be interesting now that we pick 10 guys. It'll be really interesting.
I'm going to go ahead and put these in the notes.
Put those in the notes. So it'll be really interesting to see out of the top 10 what percentage. Put it in the comments, guys. What percentage of our picks are we going to get 10 out of 10? Are we going to get 6 out of 10? We're going to get 3 out of 10? What percentage of our picks are going to be in the top 10? That's a better test than picking the winner, I'll tell you that right now.
Yeah, no doubt. So what you got? Edwin Evers, Andy Morgan.
Edwin Evers, Andy Morgan, MDJ.
Oh, MDJ.
Sprague.
And Fletcher.
You had Wheeler. You don't remember your other picks?
And then Ott.
Yeah, Wheeler, Otter.
Yep. I had Dustin Connell.
You don't remember the picks you just made?
Jesus.
Y'all might have to comment. Tell us what picks we just made.
Stop it. I got Zach Burge.
John Sykes says he guesses we get 40%. 4 out of 10. 6 out of 10. Jamie Scoggin, 6 out of 10.
Say what?
Zach Burge. Who else did you have? Who was your other guy?
I had
What's up, Jason Strange? Jay Hood said, "Oh, it would be good if you had a jet boat."
no doubt.
Oh man. He said,
Michael Neal.
Fletcher's wife is too pretty. Who did you have?
That was my fifth one. I'm losing my mind here.
You had Wheeler, Ott Defoe, Connell, Zach Burge. I don't remember who you picked.
I don't remember either.
How do you not remember who you picked? Go back and look at the list, you'll remember. Go back and look at the roster.
That's what I'm doing.
The beauty of live coverage.
Jordan Lee, Jesus.
Jordan Lee. God dang, yeah, you did.
They said, what did we say, 4 out of 10?
We had a KVD mentioned, Edwin and Ott. Yeah, that's good picks. Wheeler, DC, MDJ, that's a click. One on.
Yeah.
One on, all do good. Yeah, there's something to that.
You know, I thought about KVD, and I don't know.
Busting Outdoors, I'm going to tell you, though, Grand Lake is not a shallow, muddy water fishery. It's clear and deep on the south end and staying in the rivers. Yeah, here's the deal. We always see Grand Lake in the cold water when the lakes are the muddiest.
Right.
Like, I don't know that I've ever seen a tournament on Grand Lake during springtime. But I got to think with the way this year is shaped up, you're still going to have some of that early year dirty water situation going on. Yes, there are parts of Grand Lake that are clear. We said that. We said, listen, a lot of it's dirty water, but there's a pretty good bit of it that's clear water, too. But I think it's just going to be a shallow water junk fishing deal. Like shallow water, catch them however you can get a bite, multiple different baits. I think that's how it's going to shape up.
That's a pretty stout 10 picks.
I like it.
Yeah.
What if we get all 10?
That is the top 10.
What if that's the top 10?
I mean,
are we then like solidified as the greatest fantasy fishing players of all time, even though we don't play?
Definitely.
We're definitely going to be the best fantasy fishing players that have never played fantasy fishing.
That's right.
For sure. We've probably already got that title.
Have to. Yeah. Have to.
No doubt. Well, Christina, I think we've done all the damage we can do for tonight.
Yeah, we've done a lot of damage.
We have talked a lot.
Cox is a beast. Yes, he is.
He's that guy. We've ground it to a halt now with our crazy picks. I'm looking forward to watching record. I'm looking forward to, since Guide Trip got canceled tomorrow because of weather. I had people coming in from out of state. They didn't want to fly in and take the chance on the weather tomorrow. As it turns out, they were probably right. We'd have got a few hours in at best, it looks like. So
Right.
Good decision on their parts.
So instead of doing the thing that I do, I'm going to ask you to do the thing that you do at the end of this one.
Everybody watch Santee Cooper tomorrow while you're hiding from the rain. If you're at work, it's probably worth getting fired to watch this one, boys. We'll see you next time right here on your Lake Fork Guide.